I'm often asked to do a workshop or a demonstration on how to paint sunsets. Well, there's 1,000 different ways to paint them. In fact, for every artist that paints them, there's a different way to do it. And I'm no different. I have quite a few methods, but here's one of them. And some of the things that I do are a little off the wall. Like you'll notice that I'm about to do an oil painting on well, it looks like a piece of card. And what it is basically is a mixed media painting surface, which you can buy at your local art store. I found this at mine, and I was quite pleased to find out that you could actually paint oil on something that acts like paper or acts like a card surface. Is very light, cuts up very easily. And here I'm using like masking tape or painter's tape to create a nice clean edge around my painting. And when I peel it off, well, you'll see just what I mean. That's the big reveal at the end. So hang around, okay? You'll like it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, one of the things that I am a big proponent of is learning to paint with whatever you have available to you. And I make that point right out of the gate here with a brush from the dollar store. And it's a big fat wide brush. It's not a fancy $20, $30, $60 painting brush for, landscape painters at your very expensive brush section of the art store. No, this is a brush out of a package of brushes that I probably paid $3 for at the local dollar store or whatever your store is called. And here's another one from the same package, and I'm using it for the darker blue. But you can mix a little linseed oil into the brush itself and sort of soften up the brush, and then you can dip that in your favorite colors, and you can see how it covers a pretty wide area pretty quickly. And that's what I like about it because, well, I got places to go and things to do and people to see. You know how it is. We're all very busy, and I'm no different. Well, busy is a kind of a subjective thing. I mean, how busy are we all really? We have time. We make time for the things that are important to us, and I'm no different. We're all like that. We sort of pick and choose our battles. But for me, painting is something that I always make time for because, well, I love to do it more than anything. And you're here, so, well, you must love painting too. And so here we are, having the time of our life, as I do every day, as I paint my pictures. And I'm going to use that same brush, using the narrow tip of it right into the Prussian blue. By the way, there's my colors that I'm using, and the lighter color up above is called gray blue. It's a Pebeo color. I don't know if that's how you say it, but 506, that's the name on the tube, number on the tube, and the color down below is the Prussian blue. And when you use those two colors juxtaposition, well, that's a fancy word for side by side. This one beside that one. Well, you get the point. You get a strong presence along the bottom. And in the sky with that gray blue, you get kind of a not so strong. And that's really what we want. We want our sky not to be overpowering. Well, we don't want the water to be overpowering either, but it's going to reflect the sky shortly. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here, and I don't want to spoil the fun. So I want you to hang around. So now this is vermilion, and I've changed my brush here. I'm using another dollar store brush. from another one of those little packages that you find at the dollar store. Now, why do I use these kinds of tools? Well, the fact of the matter is I do have the expensive variety, but my story is not a sob story. I didn't come from a really difficult upbringing. I certainly had everything that I needed, and my parents worked very hard to provide for me. The very basics, I had everything I needed. But I was never privileged to use expensive painting tools. In fact, I often had to use whatever was kicking around the shelves of my father's shop or in the basement of the house. And that often meant using old dry brushes or whatever. And so to this day, I really am a big proponent of paint with what you have. And don't worry about getting the expensive stuff. I mean, if you can afford it, then go for it. But if you don't, or if you would rather not, or if you got more important things to do with your money, which most of us do, well, just paint with what you got. And so I'm demonstrating here these very simple, very inexpensive dollar store brushes. I mean, if they've got hairs at the end of it, and if you learn how to manipulate the brush, and that only comes with practice, well, then you can start to do things like this. Like, the sky is just a matter of putting paint on the surface and wiggling the brush. Look at how I'm kind of zigzagging the brush back and forth, and I just keep doing it until I get the effect in the sky that I want. And I'm letting that gray-blue touch the Prussian along the top of the far shore, and that kind of blurs it. That blurs the far shore into the sky a little bit. And I'm going to touch a little bit of that dark color into the sky itself, so we're starting to have a little bit of harmony here. And harmony in a choir is when all four parts are singing together and they just sound wonderful together. And in a painting, we sort of pull the different elements from the different aspects or sections or areas of the painting, and we allow them to kind of disperse out throughout the whole painting, and that creates that colorful harmony. It's subtle, but it's beautiful. And here now is a little bit of rose madder. And rose madder and vermilion, they make for the most beautiful sunset skies. I discovered that years ago. There are some colors that are very commonly used, like azo orange and cerulean yellow. In my view, those are beautiful colors, but they're very, very strong and a little bit on the overpowering side. So I opt for these more subtle colors like rose madder and vermilion. And look, if you just touch a little bit of titanium white into it, and once again, that zigzagging, there's yet another dollar store brush, just zigzagging back and forth, kind of a scrubbing action. And then, well, it looks just kind of plopped on, so you just gently, just use your brush to just kind of blend it very gently. Pull those colors back into the paint. And right there where we have the low end of the sky and it sort of meets the lake at the horizon line there, we'll just kind of pull the brush down, and now we'll pull the brush from left to right, or in your case it might be right to left. And there's more zigzagging. See, I'm just softly blending. I'm not over blending. I don't want all of that beautiful color to disappear and become kind of muddy. And just very lightly, you can almost feel the feather-like touch of the brush. And it's just slightly applying pressure to the paint, and that creates texture over the surface of your painting. And well, it's starting to look like a sunset now. Now I'll take some straight titanium white, and we'll just Gonna touch some highlights along the top of our far shore. It's turning out to be a beautiful evening. I think it'd be a good time to get the fire going and roast some marshmallows or whatever it is you like to have just before bedtime, cozying up in your tent out there in the wilds. Here in Canada, we have a lot of beautiful places that you can access pretty quickly and easily from the cities, and well, this is just one of our thousands of northern lakes. And there's that titanium white again. I'm just gonna tap a little bit of highlighting into the water and drag it down, just quick little flicks. And to keep that from looking too overpowering, we don't want that to be too strong, so I'll just stroke from left to right there and just gonna blend it gently. Just blend it gently so that we get that softer reflection on the water. And we want to do it in kind of left to right lines, and we don't want to cover the whole surface. And the reason why is because we want the rippling of the water. We want it to appear like, well, darker in the foreground and lighter in the foreground. And here's the most inexpensive tool of them all: your fingertips. You can blend with your fingertips, and well, some of the greatest masters on earth have rendered their portraits and landscapes, finished them off with blending on their fingertip. And look at that. A little bit of strong titanium white right into the water, just slashing to the right and slashing to the left and making it blend. We get that reflection of the highlight in the sky and it reflects on the water. And a little bit stronger in the middle there. That suggests that maybe the sun is directly behind those clouds, but we can't see the sun directly. So, it's kind of fogged over by the clouds. But that's what gives those softened colors. And now, well, here's a little brush from my art store, and it's a little number 1 detail brush, and it's sharpened off at the edge by, patting it down on your palette to get a nice clean sharp edge. And you can put it right into that Prussian blue and flick upwards, and you get the treetops, the little tree tips that stick into the sky, and just suggest to you that there's some wildlife over there that are just waking up for the night. The night dwellers, I like to say. Don't forget to sign your work. It's the most important part. You want people to know who did this little painting, and to always be able to find you. After all, how would they know if you didn't sign it? And that's my name right there, Robert McAfee. Well, I sign it with McAfee, and I keep it subtle. And now, for the fun part, I promised you it would be exciting. There's the peel off of the tape, and you look at that sharp, clean edge. And, that's okay. That just makes it beautiful so that you can cut off the excess and have a nice clean picture, or you can give that to your framer, and the framer knows exactly where to either cut the mat or put the liner or actually put the frame. It's just the way to finish it off beautifully. And I'm going to thank you for dropping in, because I loved having you here today. And if you enjoyed this session, I hope that you'll like and subscribe. That's how YouTube and, well, social media knows that you've been watching, and they'll show you more of my videos coming up. And by all means, let someone else know. You can join my workshops. They're in person, and they're in the Toronto area, and I'm more than happy to have you. All you got to do is send me an email at robertmcafee@gmail.com. We'll put you on the list and let you know when one is coming up. And by all means, you can support your local landscape artist by shopping at robertmcafee.com. And I'll thank you again for dropping in right here on The Robert Painter on YouTube.